What does the cleaning industry really talk about? Beyond Clean with Ace is a podcast to explore just that. Now in its 6th season, Beyond Clean with Ace has hosted hundreds of influencers from around the globe. Listen to people who are excited about providing healthy, positive, and proactive information, share their experiences, passions, and helpful tips. Now let's join our host, Dave Thompson, Director for the Academy of Cleaning Excellence, as he speaks with yet another leading influencer from our industry.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Thompson. I am the director here at the Academy of Cleaning Excellence. And yes, you might know the rock star custodian up behind me today. Well, that's right, because, well, you know what? This past week, we announced the rock star custodian for 2021. So if you'd like to find out who that was and see all the video, I will tell you, this guy, they did it right. They had 100 kids in the auditorium. When he walked in, they had the school band playing. They had a special chant for him. He got a trophy from us and a plaque. He got a trophy from them. His family came from over in Tampa and drove all the way across the state to be there. You got to go and check it out. rockstarcustodian.com. Third year we've been presenting that program, and I got to tell you, it is a wonderful thing to be able to do that for people all over the country. Well, today I've got a special guest with me because, you know, we call this show Beyond Clean with Ace. Now, that being said, we don't always talk about cleaning, but folks, today we're going to talk about cleaning because, well, Brian Winch is with me this afternoon, and he's from a little different climate than where I am in Florida. So, you know, as we're recording this, the 2nd of February, it's probably a little cooler for most of you. And I feel for you. I spent a lot of time in Missouri. But Brian, what are we talking about? You know, a simple cleaning process to make triple-digit income. I got to hear more.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Dave, for having me. And it was about 1981 when I was looking for an opportunity to work for myself. I was working a full-time job as a shipper receiver, and I couldn't see myself doing that the rest of my life. And I was really kind of an outdoorsy person, like to work outdoors, and just didn't want to be confined to the same four walls every day. So I barely graduated high school. I wasn't a very good student, didn't have a lot of money in the bank and not a lot of skills. I was 21, like I say. And I started looking at various opportunities. And, you know, one that struck me was cleaning. You know, there's the saying, fortunes have been made in the cleaning business. And as you know, my dad actually was a caretaker. He was a janitor for the public school system. And he did a number of things on the side, like cutting grass in the summer and shoveling snow in the winter. But he also cleaned up litter from the parking lot outside of a nearby strip plaza. And he had taken me along with him a couple times when I was a teenager, you know, about 14, 15 years of age. And I remember how easy it was to do. We weren't going in cleaning up an accumulation of debris or litter material. You know, the whole point is he had the contract to keep the property litter free. So we utilized simple hand tools. We would just walk the parking lot sidewalks and the surrounding landscape and sweep up litter material into our collection tools and be done in basically a matter of minutes. It was almost as easy to do as going for a walk. So with that memory, I thought, well, you know what? Let's see if there's a market for this service. And unfortunately, he passed away just 2 months before I actually launched the business. He died unexpectedly at the age of 61. And so I didn't have his experience or his contacts to call upon. But I thought, well, I'm going to make this work, you know, in order to honor my dad. And I enjoy the work, and I would really like to make this work. So I started cold calling. The internet of the day was the yellow pages.
Thumb through the yellow pages. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've all been there. Yeah, I got you covered on that one there.
Yeah. So as luck would have it, you make your luck by working hard for it. About the third or fourth call in, I had a prospect that say, this is this is great. I mean, we were just having this discussion in the office that we needed to replace the person we were using to, to provide the litter pick or the litter cleanup outside of our 2 strip plazas. Would you be interested? And so that's all. It all started from there. And if people in your audience are wondering, well, parking lot litter cleaning, what's new with that? It's true. Landscapers do it. Some, big cleaning companies do it. But what made my business model so successful, and it's been going on for over 40 years now, is we provide our service on foot with simple hand tools after hours where we can clearly see and clean all material and provide that little extra personal touch in the form of extra communication, daily reporting, and our clients love us. We've had some clients for almost as long as we've been in business, and I'm sharing my success with other people across the country now as well.
What's interesting as you talk about this, Brian, the cleaning industry uses a lot of hand tools. We walk buildings. We work after hours. We provide a service. The only difference here is that when we talk about cleaning, for the most part, most of us in this industry, we're talking about inside the building, inside the 4 walls. Here you've went and said, "Hey, let me get outside where I can breathe fresh air." You know what? I got to think about this. We've been in the COVID lockdown for a couple of years, and here you are, and then I would imagine you haven't really missed a beat.
No, actually, it's been great for our business because there's more of an awareness now, not just from the general public, but from our clients who are property management companies, for the need to safely maintain their properties, not just litter material, which would be cigarette butts and empty drink cups and fast food wrappers, but
all the normal things that people pitch out of their car that they don't want, they're too lazy to take to the trash can, right?
Exactly. But now on top of that, there's the masks that people discard. They come out of a grocery store and can't be bothered to take it home with them or find a litter container, and it just winds up on the parking lot. And of course, it scatters everywhere, the sidewalks, into the shrubs and bushes. And so our clients recognize the need to maintain our service, but also, if anything, they weren't going to cut us back or let us go because, they needed us to clean up all of these masks in addition to all the litter material. So,
I'm thinking about this as you're saying this. I had surgery about 18 months ago, and I had to go into the hospital 3 days a week for physical therapy after surgery. And every single time I went in, I started counting how many masks were laying in the parking lot on the way to and from. And I'm thinking, this is a hospital. It's supposed to be a clean environment. And this is the way the outside of the building was. So you're hitting right on a target that I noticed here. It is kind of, it's not an out of sight, out of mind thing, though.
Well, like I say, somebody in one form or the other is currently providing this service, for property management companies. As I mentioned before, it could be a landscaper, or it could be a cleaner. The problem with landscapers is a lot of times they try to do it during the day when they're landscaping, and you can't provide a satisfactory result when during the day when there's vehicles parked in the parking lot and oftentimes parked right on top of the material that you're supposed to clean up.
And then the thing is most of those people, I got to tell you, and I'm not, hey, folks, by no means am I saying that landscaping people are lazy, because I've done landscaping. It's not lazy, but they're not in tune with doing that. The last thing they want to do at the end of their landscaping day is mess with litter. And so what do? They grab the blower, and I watch this all the time, right? They blow it from around the leaves around the landscape and out into the parking lot. Well, it's off of their stuff, but now it's in the parking lot. Parking lot guy comes with the big vacuum truck, and he blows it around. And if it comes out where his truck will get it, he gets it. But if it goes back up on the landscape, so who's taking care of it? I know somebody.
Well, that's right. And, oftentimes I've seen the landscapers too. walking around a property, and they don't use the proper tools. They might walk around with a bag or a plastic bucket and one of those grabber tools or one of those poker tools, and that's going to get the big stuff, but they're going to miss all the small wrappers and especially all the cigarette butts. And so,
and they're not going to pick up each one of those little cigarette butts like
not
this.
one at a time. Certainly not one at a time. They'll be there forever. So we utilize a unique hand tool that allows us to clean up more material in less time, which saves our customers money and which makes the business more profitable for us as well. So, you have to provide it with the proper equipment at the right time of day, and offer that extra customer service and to be successful.
So this is a large investment to get started in a small business, right?
It's a small investment to get to get going in this big business.
Okay, I got it backwards there. I thought you might catch that. I was reading something earlier before we got on here today. $50,000 to $100,000 as a side job to your regular job?
Yeah, as a simple one-man operation. I've done it. I've been in the business for 40 plus years now. That's how I started. I started as a simple side hustle, starting with a couple of properties, and then it was 4 and then 6 buildings, etc. And it wasn't very long after I started this as a side gig, maybe 3 or 4 months, that I was making more money cleaning up litter from parking lots than I was working at my full-time job. And so it wasn't rocket science for me. I quit my job and I scaled the business up to a successful one-man operation. I was quite content. I went about 4 years just keeping things very simple, just working for myself, just by myself. And, I was doing $50,000 to $100,000 a year as a one-man operation. And, after that, I guess I was a victim of my own success. My clients came after me and they said, Brian, we need more of you at more places. And I can't be everywhere at once. So then I started recruiting an army of people to come in and do a lot of the cleaning for me. And the business continued to grow to the point where, at one point we were doing over $700,000 a year just cleaning up litter from parking lots.
Now I got to think that that's a full 8 to 10 hour night.
Oh yeah, well it was when I was doing that. Now I might do 3 or 4 hours a day because I'm getting older. I'm slowing down, but I still enjoy.
Now wait a minute. Now wait a minute, folks. If you're watching the video part of this, not the podcast, there is a reason why his camera only goes so far. He does. Oh, now Brian, I was trying to help you out there. Us guys that we. But you're right. This is something that would keep you physically fit as well. What about climate and the issues that come in with climate and all of that? Is this an issue for other people that are doing this around the country? What have you been hearing? Well,
litter isn't seasonal. Litter doesn't take a day off because it rains. Litter doesn't stay in the house. People are always tossing the material out regardless of the season. It's true that if it snows, the snow may temporarily mask some material like the cigarette butts, but at some point it melts. Or if it's piled up, when the piles of snow melt, that stuff gets exposed and it's got to be cleaned up. So
now it's all piled up for you, so it's a lot easier to.
Sometimes in the spring when it's melting, it doesn't happen all at once, but I feel like an archaeologist, going through a dig, and I'm finding this and that. It changes every day. But, you just have to dress accordingly, like any other, like even landscapers. Landscapers work outdoors, winter, summer, fall, spring, and you just dress it accordingly. A lot of people dress in layers. It might be a certain temperature when you start out, the first thing in the morning. And by the time you're finished later in the morning, you're down to, just a fleece or something like that, or a light jacket. I don't mind. I love working outdoors, and the people that work for me feel the same way. And I've had a lot of the people, working for me for 20, 30. One guy has been working for me for 35 years.
That's great. I mean, long-term employment, work for yourself, work when I'd say work when you want to, but you're working early mornings. One thing I want to ask though, I'm curious about the archaeology part of it. I mean, I've been in this business for a lot of years, and I've been behind buildings, in front of buildings and stuff. And I know there's usually some very interesting things that you may or may not find. Do you have any good stories for us?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'm always finding valuables, paper bills, could be fives, tens, 20s. I'm finding, people's cell phones, wallets, purses. The most, and
now wait a minute. I understand the cell phone thing. My wife cannot keep a cell phone with her for anything. I mean, I just, when you said cell phones, I'm thinking, oh gosh.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, hon, but I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think what's happening is, I don't know about purses, but I mean, with the other stuff, the money and the cell phones and the wallets, is people will stuff things in their pockets, and then they go to grab their car keys, and when they pull the keys out, out comes the other stuff, and it's laying in the parking lot for us to find. So, we always make our best effort to find, locate these people, if there's identification inside the wallets, etc. The most money I've ever found is probably about $600 several years ago. It must have been sitting under a waste dumpster for a while. And then when the bin was emptied and set back a bit, I noticed a roll of paper, and it was pretty grubby and dirty and muddy. And I bent down, picked it up, and I thought, well, this is money, but I couldn't open it because it's just wet and soggy. So I took it home, dried it out. When I was able to unroll it, I started peeling off the bills. It totaled $600.
Holy! Now that was a day. No wonder you remember it. Yeah. And the thing about it is you can't return it to anybody. It's under dumpster. I mean, how do you know?
Yeah. No, I know, and I think probably it might have belonged to one of the storekeepers, and they, at the end of the day when they closed up shop, they took the trash out, threw it in the dumpster, and then grabbed their car keys once again from their pockets to pull it out. Heading to their vehicle, and out came the bankroll, and they were probably on their way to the bank after work to make the deposit. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't in their pocket any longer. So
okay, so that's some of the good stuff. Have you found anything that you had to get the police involved with?
Well, not with the police, but I could use my imagination as to what happened in the parking lot earlier when I would find like a bra and some panties and the items of that type of clothing. And how else does a bra wind up in the parking lot?
I ain't gonna go there with you. I'm like you, Brian. Use your imagination, folks. This is an interesting thing about the cleaning industry. We're everywhere, and we see all the things that people don't think about. I've been writing some of my memoirs from my 50-year career, and I was writing some of those things. I'm like, you know what? I can't write exactly what I saw because it's not appropriate to be published.
Well, and I hear you, and this is probably a family show, and I could tell you a few more stories. What I see goes on in cars.
Well, there you go. When you clean the inside of the buildings and you're cleaning after hours, there's some other situations, folks, that I'll tell you that you find yourself in. And if you get a good custodian who's been it for a while, I can guarantee you every single one of us has a really good, juicy story that, we might tell around the campfire when there's been a little bit more adult beverages consumed.
A few wobbly pops.
Yeah, there you go, Brian. I think this is what's interesting is what we're talking about this afternoon, everyone, is thinking outside the box of what normally everybody does and looking for opportunities and things. And, I think this is a great story, Brian, because your father inspired you. He showed you, although he wasn't there to see you actually take it to fruition. I applaud the fact that you're, giving him the kudos and, living that legacy then.
Yeah, exactly. And I honor his memory and in my book, Cleanlots, America's Simplest Business, where I share with people, my experience, how to start and operate a business like this in their own city. And I offer free support, again, because it's a simple business. I understand when, some people that buy the book, they collect information, and it sits on the bookshelf for a while. Other people are more serious about it. Mm-hmm. And they do start the business, and whatever motivates them. Some people just want to make a few extra dollars to pay off some debt. Other people want to turn a side hustle into a full-time business, and that option is available to them. And I'm there to provide the free support to try my best to so they could achieve their dreams as well.
So what you're doing now is you've kind of backed off the hard labor, if you will. I mean, you've kind of made it sound like it's not hard labor, so I don't know if that's the right word, but the day-to-day grind, if you will, then. And now you're selling the book, kind of giving the business plan, if you will.
Yeah, and I decided early on, I wanted to keep it affordable. So people that starting out these days, like I was, mm-hmm. not a lot of money in the bank, not the most educated, but somebody with ambition. They could take a simple idea and make a lot of money with it. And so that's why I decided to write my experience down in a book. And but however, like a franchise, you get a manual in the form of the book, but also right. the support that I provide. And there's no charge for that. I really get a kick out of hearing people's success stories and helping people, because it's not rocket science. It really isn't.
So now you're up in British Columbia, correct?
No, I'm in Alberta.
Alberta, okay,
right next
Canada,
door.
Folks. I'm sorry. Cold and north. Anyway, so where are some of the people that are buying the book and starting their operations? Where are they coming from? I mean, I imagine just in the United States.
Well, the vast majority, because the U.S. market is 10 times the size of the Canadian market. So the vast majority of the people that buy my book are in the United States, all across the country: California, Vermont, Florida, you name it. Pretty much every state at some point I've sold a copy of my book to.
Have you got any international hits off of it?
I try to discourage that for the simple reason that I'm not familiar with those markets. I'm familiar with the North American market, and the prospects, and how business is done, and the type of commercial developments. We're more used to the parking lots because we're more automobile eccentric, or people drive around, they park in parking lots, as opposed to the European cities that are more high density, and you've got everything's built up, and people take public transit. There's fewer parking lots in some of those countries. So my focus is on the American market, and also the Canadian market.
So now you say your focus, and I got to think that you've been asked to do more than clean up the parking lot. I mean, if you've had a customer for 30, 40 years, they had to at some time want you to do something more than just pick up the litter.
Yeah, well, we had a few clients, maybe about 10 years after being in business, they approached us and said, "Brian, we love the job you're doing with the parking lot litter cleaning, but, we've got a strip of grass. Can you cut that for us? In the wintertime, we have a, storefront sidewalk. Can you shovel the snow in the winter?" And so for a few of those clients, we decided to try it out. And we were doing it for a few years. And, to be honest with you, we hated it.
I heard that tone, folks, and I was watching his expression on his face. And if you're watching the video, you can understand what I'm saying. I could just read real quick, that we tried it, and I just kind of knew that's what was coming. And what you're talking about here is you found a niche. You do it very well. You stay where you are. It's kind of like people come here to the academy and they say, "Well, I'm in residential cleaning." I said, "You're in the wrong place." Well, I thought you talked about cleaning and contracts and certifications. I go, "Yeah, commercial. I don't do residential. I know where I belong. I know where I'm good. But I'll send you some other people that do residential education, and they're schooled in that. They don't do with commercial." And so I think that's the thing you're talking about this afternoon. be good at what you're doing.
Yeah, you know what? It's better to be an expert or be seen as an expert in what you do than attempt to be a jack of all trades and wind up being a master of none.
Well, I've been accused a little bit of that myself. I do a lot of things. So, Brian, where can they get hold of you? I know you mentioned your book. Let's go through that again, because we definitely want people that are listening here at Beyond Clean with Ace to be able to get that information, because I'm sure they haven't heard this before.
Yeah, well, the best place to go look for me is at my website, cleanlots.com. And on the homepage, there's a free PDF download. It's a free report to, if you're sitting on the fence and trying to decide if this opportunity is a right fit for you, by all means, kick some tires and download that free report. And also on my website, there's a 3-minute video that shows me walking the parking lot and providing my service. And you can see it actually does look as simple to do as going for a walk.
You know what? I'm going back to my surgery, because the biggest thing they wanted you to do after that surgery was walk, and it was like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking, do I really want to go and walk around for 2 or 3 hours with Brian every morning? I am imagining that most of this is only 5-day a week. Are we talking 7-day a week too?
Well, like I'm not walking 2 or 3 hours straight. I have several properties where there's some driving time in between each property. So, one property might take me 5 to 10 minutes to service. Another one might, be 15 to 20 minutes. Another one, 45 minutes. So it varies. And so you get that little break between job sites. Sorry, I lost what was the rest of that question?
I just said I don't want to walk with you like that, and I'm thinking that most of this is 5 days a week and not 7, or what? I mean,
okay.
a general contract term, if you will, for the folks.
Okay, well, no, that's a great question. So, like a lot of the industrial warehouse properties we do tend to be 3 days a week. They might be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Some small strip plazas sometimes get by with 3 to 5 day a week service, and 5 day would be Monday through Friday. We do some larger high street properties, or big box developments where you've got the Staples and the Home Depot, etc. And so those are typically they want 6 day a week service, the weekend service as well. And so while I tend not to do the large developments anymore, we get other people to do that for me. But, I've got workers that want to work 5 days a week. I've got some people that work for me that just want to work weekends. And so I can accommodate everybody's wants and needs.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is that the largest part of your staff are part-time, flexible hours. So that being said, tell the audience what would be that prime candidate for your service that you're going to go call on.
Oh, okay. Well, the my clientele would be property management companies. So I contact them and I'm not trying to sell them anything over the initial introduction. It's just trying to obtain the decision maker. Who do I share the benefits of my service with within your company? Is it the operations manager? Is it a building operator? Is it a property manager? And then I get the conversation going and share how my service can benefit them. And once they see that I can save them money and give them better results, and also go beyond that and provide free reporting. We make a point to let our customers know if somebody's dumped off a mattress, or there's fresh graffiti on the property, or there's fresh property damage. Maybe a large boulder in the landscape has been run over by a big 4x4 truck and it's sitting in the middle of the parking lot. My clients want to know about these issues first thing in the morning so they can deal with it, as opposed to hearing from an angry tenant, what's wrong with you guys? When are you going to get over here and deal with this stuff?
Well, yeah, you're an extra set of eyes and ears, and you see things because you're in tune with it. And you're, like you said, you're walking the property. So it is a service. And I think that's I think that's smart. I think I like this. Gosh, I can't tell you how many times I probably should have been doing this, but I got to tell you, Brian, I'm past those days, so I'm not going to be doing that, folks. But hey, you heard it here on Beyond Clean with Ace. We don't always talk about cleaning. We talk about all kinds of things, but my 3 words: healthy, positive, and proactive. Brian, you hit them all.
Oh, well, there we go. Thank you. That's what I aim to do.
Okay, so folks, we're sponsored by Gym Supply here in Central Florida. They've been providing cleaning supplies that save lives since 1930. So that's like, 90 years? So, hey, there's a lot of us have been doing this for a long time, and we're still come up with new things. Yes, we're still in a pandemic. We're still, I think we're in year number 3 and counting. So if you think that COVID is going away, I'm sorry, you've been misinformed. It's going to be around for a while. Infection prevention is something we're going to be talking about for a long time. As Brian and I said this afternoon, there are good things that have come out of this issue. And for the cleaning industry, it has brought about an awareness that we just couldn't buy that kind of advertising, Brian. Yeah, it's, as you said, I like what you said there.
Yeah, well, I mean, exactly. And, I took the opportunity to, what looked to be lemons, I turned it into lemonade by, contacting my news station, the largest TV news station, and said, hey, guys, I'm finding all sorts of these masks that, people are tossing into parking lots. And so a reporter met me out at one of my buildings first thing the next morning, and I was on the TV news, and then later the next day on the lunchtime news, and it was great exposure. So,
from trash to TV, it's Brian again.
There you go.
Yeah, that's your new slogan, right? From trash to TV, Brian is here.
I'll have to go retitle that clip.
Anything can happen on a podcast. You've done a few of them. And I do want to ask a question, though, as we're thinking about this, and some people are thinking a podcast about cleaning. You've been on a few, so kind of tell the audience, it's hard to get people in the cleaning industry to talk, Brian.
Well, it's a great way to build your business inexpensively, if you will. I mean, it's let's call it free advertising. It's evergreen content, and you can get your message out to an audience, and it'll be there for years. So if you're afraid or you think you can't speak well or whatever, believe me, you get better with experience. I mean, I wasn't that great with my first episode. And
so if we go to your website and search your podcast, we can find the good ones and the bad ones. Or
well, I tend to weed those out.
Oh, come on!
But you know what? On my page, I've got a podcast page, and they go back. And I've been doing this for 2 years now, podcasting. Maybe just going on 3 years, and I've got some very early ones that are still up on my page, and and then at some point we'll add this to my page as well. But it's like anything. You've got good days, bad days, and hey, you've got a producer. You can edit. If I screw up, you're going to edit these out, aren't you? I hope.
Hey, I got to tell you, folks, we've got a page. We're in season 6 right now, and I can tell you, we've got the ones from the very first all the way up to last week. and we have edited a few of them, but there was a few of them you're live and you're on the air and there wasn't any chance to edit and that. So I think that's the interesting thing here is, folks, you have something to say and you might think that you don't have anything glamorous. I can tell you, cleaning toilets, cleaning windows isn't glamorous. Picking up trash in the parking lot isn't glamorous. But have you put any kids through school picking up trash?
Yeah, I've got 2 young sons that have just both finishing up school. So we've done that. And actually, one of my successful students who bought my book several years ago reached out to me. He never reached out to me for support. And okay. One day he sends me an email and he's giving me this glowing review and he's telling me, what my book did for him. And he put 2 of his kids through college. And what he was doing, he was just doing this on the side. he was cleaning about 3 or 4 Walmart supercenters, and I think this was in North Carolina.
Wow.
And he'd done that, and he put his kids through college. And I said, wow, I appreciate you reaching out to me and telling me the story. Hey, can I use you as a testimonial? And, it's on my website.
Well, and I think that's the thing is, you're somewhat like I am here. We teach education classes here at the Academy. We have hundreds and thousands of students that come through classes. Very rarely do you hear anything. And then all of a sudden, somebody pops up and goes, this is what we've been doing and everything. This is why we love the Rockstar Custodian program, because we get nominations all year long. So wait a minute, folks. I got to tell you, yes, we're here at the start of 2022. We just announced the Rockstar for this past year. Nominations, as you are listening to this, in 22, the nominations are open. Anyone from anywhere in the world can nominate someone else other than yourself. Now, we got to qualify that a little bit. And they have to be currently employed with that organization that's nominating them. There's a nomination form on our website, www.academyofcleaning.com, or if you go to rockstarcustodian.com. Nominate somebody, because I guarantee you there is nothing better, there's nothing more powerful than letting the media come out and learn about something healthy, positive, and proactive. This past week, we got to announce somebody that's been a frontline custodian in a district for 27 years. It was powerful. So, folks, we implore you, come on the show, come talk to us. There's always something good that you've got to say. It's time for us to let people know that we're doing the right thing. And with the COVID that's going on around and all of the other issues, it's our time. It's our time to shine. Brian, I thank you for being on the show and letting us all know this. I got 2 questions for you before you go.
Okay.
Where were you born?
I was born in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Aha. And so what's on your personal bucket list for this year? Not business-wise, something for Brian.
Well, I don't know if it's going to happen this year yet, but my wife and I, just before COVID hit, had made plans to visit Italy to celebrate our 30th wedding anniversary. And so, that quickly didn't work out. It was canceled. And so we're waiting, and we want to go back when things are more back to normal. And so we get the real experience, without all of this other stuff going on.
Well, now, mine's not as far away as Italy, but I love what you're saying. Mine's a hot air balloon.
Oh.
I've been wanting to go, and when I was ready to go, I had the heart attack. And then last year I wanted to go, and they said, well, you have to wear a mask. And I'm kind of like you. Why do I want to do this and have to wear a mask all the time? I'm in a hot air balloon. Come on, folks.
Yeah.
But, the thing is they're regulated by aviation. And in aviation, you have to wear a mask all the time. And so I understand. So, folks, I got to tell you, I'm not doing the hot air balloon until I can take the mask off my freaking face.
Okay. Good for you.
So, folks, the reason why I asked the 2 questions of all of my guest speakers is because every one of us are on a journey. We started someplace and we're going someplace. Life has all kinds of twists and turns in between. My point to you today, as you've listened to this podcast, is make sure that journey that you're on is healthy, positive, and proactive. There's plenty of other stuff going on. If you've got some message you'd like to talk to, you've got an idea that's worth sharing, come on. Let's see if you can beat Brian and his simple little $100,000 business, with a little simple tool walking around. Brian, it's been great having you on. If you get something going on and you want to come on the podcast, please do so. We'd love to have you come back and share some more stories.
Oh, I'd love to. Thanks, Dave.